Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a Fear the Walking Dead video for today, leading up to, I guess, the start for Fear the Walking Dead Season 4, which will most likely be beginning of next summer, late spring, that type of time range. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts on, are they simply just killing off too many characters in Fear? And spoiler warning if you guys have not seen up to the end of Fear the Walking Dead Season 3. So if you missed any episodes, spoilers for you. So going into Season 4, still continuing with the Fear videos for now. Of course, once The Walking Dead premieres on Sunday, we're going to be switching back, to making mostly Walking Dead videos. But for right now, there are a lot of questions I think that, we can debate and we can talk about with regards to Fear the Walking Dead after that crazy double Season 3 finale. A lot of stuff happening for Fear. A lot of changes in the show, really dynamic Season 3, really dynamic finish for Season 3, and we got an interview to go through as well, too, from Dave Erickson, who was the showrunner for the first 3 seasons, is now stepping down, giving his thoughts on the future for Madison. So the question for this one, which is coming from a lot of people to start with, is, do we think they're simply killing off too many characters, right? And, it's the question like, should Troy have survived? Should they have kept him alive? And people have said that Dave Erickson said that it was a tough decision to make and that he went back and forth on it a little bit. It sounds like it was a hard choice to do, but then he did decide ultimately, of course, to kill Troy off in episode 15 of Season 3. So this is one where it certainly did, make it a crazy death-heavy season. I mean, for the start of the season, they add on kind of the ranch group. You see a huge death in, spoiler warning, Travis. And then they go from there. You get all these people from the ranch. You get Daniel, who's kind of come back from the dead, so to speak, this past while. And, so you get some. You lose Ophelia as well, too. You lose basically everybody from the ranch, with the exception of Walker and Crazy Dog, which are probably like 2 of the most unlikely survivors, I want to say, from that whole storyline. So it's kind of like with that storyline, if you were to make a prediction early on who you think would survive out the season, it's almost the ones that are least likely have actually been the ones to make it, or close to it anyway. Most people would have thought that they would probably keep on either Troy or Jake, one of the 2, but they probably wouldn't kill both. Pretty surprising the finale that they did kill both, and man, it would have been cool to see if they would have kept Troy on a little bit longer, because I personally like to see him with Nick, and I think it's just funny to see the 2 of them together. And I thought that they definitely could have used Troy more, and that they didn't necessarily need to kill him, I don't think, with Madison. They could have had Madison just beat the snot out of him or something like that, and figured out a way to kind of make it work afterwards, or as some people have said, which would be a cool idea, is if maybe she hit him once or something, or instead of using a hammer, she just beat him down with her bare hands or something, which may or may not make as much sense, but something else rather than to totally kill him. But then again, if you want to make Madison a villain and you want this to be just another step in that evolution for her, then it does make sense to see her kill Troy. It just would have been cool and entertaining to see him in the show for a little bit longer, because they just don't have that many characters, and to be killing off this many this quickly, where you've got like Ophelia dying and then you got Troy, and then it's like, who else do we really have? We got the Clark family, we got Daniel, we got just not that many characters, Walker and Crazy Dog. So then you've got, the new villains that are coming in here as well, too, now, but we don't know how long they're going to last for. So it's kind of most similar, I want to say, to The Walking Dead Season 3. When you have at the end of The Walking Dead Season 3, they kill off Andrea. And then you kill off Merle as well too, and it's just a very, very death-heavy, crazy season. Lori, and just a extremely death-heavy season. The difference is though, is that The Walking Dead had a lot more characters at that time to kill. When you go into Season 4, you got a bunch of characters. You got, you can look at the posters, but there's like Rick, there's Carl, there's Carol, there's Daryl, there's Tyrese. They bring on Abraham, later on. You've got a lot of you you just have a lot more survivors that are a focus. Glenn and Maggie, and Herschel, and some. Now they don't all survive all the way through, of course. Only some of them are going to make it. Michonne and Rick and the others, but it's just that they had quite a bit. Fear really seems like it's slim pickings, because I don't know how much longer they keep Daniel around for. Ruben Blade's character around. I'd like to see him pretty much all the way through Fear, but he almost always feels like he's kind of separate from the group. He's been separate for a while, so it's just really, they don't have a lot of characters in Fear right now. So I'm expecting for season 4 for them to add on a whole bunch more, because what else are you going to do? We know these characters already. You can have them change and do things like this, but it's you do have to have enough characters to tell a story, and they have killed off so many so quickly in season 3. It's just like kind of hard to think like, okay, where are they going to go from here? It's going to be a difficult job, I think, for the writers for season 4 to take Fear to the next step, because you just don't have a lot to work with right now. You're going to have to add on a lot. It also would have been cool to see at least one character from the ranch survive. Similarly with The Walking Dead, where you have Tara, who survives from her family, and the whole rest of her family is dead, and she's still alive right now in the Walking Dead series, which is cool because she comes from a different walk of life than everybody else. I think it's good to kind of keep certain characters alive that come from different seasons here and there, like have certain characters survive out. I just would have never thought that for this season it would be Walker and Crazy that would be the ones that survive. Crazy, man, but certainly unpredictable, that's for sure. And my opinion is, I think they're killing off a few too many. I think the Ophelia one was probably good enough, and then after that, it's like maybe you keep Troy alive and you just have Madison beat him down or something, and then he ends up making it, just because you just don't have that many. Debroka69 says, hey Trev, Q&A, Fear the Walking Dead, is it possible the main reason we don't see any major villain in the series is because they are the major villains? And there is an article from Dave Erickson, so to answer him, it says, Fear the Walking Dead could have eventually turned Madison into a villain. And I still think they are doing that. It's kind of commenting on Dave Erickson leaving the show, but I personally, and I'm sure a lot of you guys see it as well too, it looks like that's the trajectory she's on, right? It says, Fear the Walking Dead is about to change. The 3rd season just ended, and the finale left many characters' fates a mystery. This was by design, because Dave Erickson, showrunner for the first 3 seasons, is leaving. However, in a new interview, he gave fans a tease of how he might have ended the show if he continued. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, Erickson, who's leaving the show to pursue a developmental deal at Fear the Walking Dead's network AMC, answered a question about which character of his would have survived through the series finale if he'd stuck around to the end. So what he said was, for me, Madison. The thing that's interesting to me, and one of the questions I asked myself and Robert Kirkman very on was, I think very early on is what he means to say, was the people in our group, who do you see becoming the governor? Or of our group, who would become a Negan? That's interesting to me, to watch an evolution of a character and start with them as a hero and bleed that into anti-hero and bleed that into full-on villain. It would have been interesting in terms of the final conflict within the family. It would have been key. For me, there's a lot left for Madison specifically. And I do think that's really cool, because we've kind of started to see, especially with Troy, one thing it does do is, if they're going the route to have Nick and Madison go their separate ways, certainly the Troy death is big in that. They could have probably done it next season though, and I think maybe that would have been cool if they would have kind of kept him around for a little while longer, but I don't know. I guess pros and cons, right? But with this, the pros of having Troy be killed off by Madison goes more quickly towards the villain side, because now she's killed again with a hammer. Hammer time, right? Tyrese style. And then Nick, he's Nick's friend, right? So Nick sees it as he likes him because he's messed up and everything like that. And Nick is definitely, not in agreement with Madison that was an okay thing to do. And then, of course, you have Alycia, who's a good character as well, too. Does what she has to do to survive. But I tend to think she probably would not follow Madison down that path 100% if Madison is to become more of a villain over time and start doing things that are even more evil. Alycia might go the other way. Certainly Nick will now. So definitely it's interesting to hear. But the creator of Fear the Walking Dead basically is saying that for him, the character that will survive to the end and become, like a villain or the most the character that has, the best chance to have surviving all the way through the finale, if he was still doing it, if he was going to continue to do it, would have been Madison. So it sounds like that's probably what they're going to do anyway, because that's kind of what he's been setting up and everything like that. So I don't see them totally radically changing that. And also, it maybe adds a little bit to the idea that Madison could be alpha. But, if people hate that, a lot of people don't like that idea. We won't touch on it too much. We won't talk about it too much more. But just having her be a villain. It certainly did feel like when you watch the Season 3 double finale, that feels like a villain. What she did there does not feel like something you would see Rick do in Season 3. I don't know. It's kind of tricky because Rick does have to kill others, and he does, like the prisoners, Thomas, and people like that, Dave and Tony in the bar. This one is, putting down a member of your own group, kind of. I do feel like Troy was a part of their group at this point, and for her to put him down in such a way, it was just so brutal, and it was definitely rough to see. So it looks like that's where they're going with it, and you guys can write your comments below. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's just maybe a little bit too much, a little too fast, and you just have too shy of a roster? Just, we touched on it briefly, but you can comment below. I would say yes. I think they're killing off maybe one or two too many, but then again, it's his last season. He wants to go out with a bang. It's not going to be his work after this, so then he's handing it off to other people. They can do with it what they will, right? So, it's what it is. Shelton Arthur says, this episode was good, but Trev, epic is going a little too far, Trev. It ain't all that. And what I meant by that was that basically the scale of episode 16 was so big. To get to see them blow up the entire dam and to see the environment and to see everything like that, hallucinations underwater, being plunged, and just the whole thing breaking down, to me that really felt like a zombie apocalypse done in a fresh way. Like this whole season of Fear, it feels like kind of like a zombie apocalypse done in a fresh take, where it is like an apocalypse. It is like chaos, to where almost no matter where they go, there's just crap happening everywhere. There's people that have agendas and want to do their own thing. You kick one out, he comes back, destroys the place with a herd of zombies. You go here, you go there, you go to the dam, then someone else attacks because it's like a boardwalk in the zombie apocalypse. And then, somebody just says, I had it, I'm just going to blow the place sky high. So it was, for me, I thought it was epic in the scale of the, blowing up. This is kind of what I meant by it. The scale of blowing up the whole damn dam, I thought was really cool. Because that's something in the original Walking Dead TV series, if you look at the first maybe 3 seasons, especially seasons 2 and 3, really, you've got Woodbury, you've got these other, the prison and that kind of thing, and it's epic. But in terms of scale, we haven't really seen them, blow up anything as big as a dam or do as crazy as that. And I just thought it was pretty cool to see them go to that extreme and to really show this season as kind of a very chaotic season, of a season where it's just there's so many twists and turns and characters with agendas and their own maybe racist characters that seem to be good at first and then reveal not, and then characters that seem like they're totally evil at first, and then we find out afterwards that really they're not, and they've got a vendetta due to this person doing something wrong to them, and just I personally felt like it was really interesting and a fresh take, I want to say, on the zombie apocalypse. And you question yourself, like, would this be what it would be like in major cities where you have more population? Because Rick and the group, they're out there, but they're not, like, they go to Atlanta for a bit and that kind of deal. But if you look at where the Fear group is and the different locations they've been to, around there, you could definitely see that you could have situations where things are even crazier for another group than they would be for Rick and the others that have a camp and are able to kind of stay at a farm, stay away from the whole thing. Whereas the Fear characters are it feels like they're kind of in the shit, versus kind of being able to coast by like they were for a little while on the ranch, able to do that, but it certainly didn't last long. Just a very crazy season, and I thought that the dam was a really cool big scale thing to do in the finale that felt pretty epic to me for what Fear has been able to do so far. So I really like that a lot. Jordi says, hey Trev, do you think Alycia has the most survivor kills in the Fear the Walking Dead universe after episode 13 of Fear the Walking Dead? Thanks. So he said Walking Dead, but no, there's characters in Walking Dead that have way more kills than she does. Probably Proctor John, that group probably has a lot more kills. He probably has a lot more kills himself than Alycia does. But after episode 13, she might have the most, but a lot of it's just putting characters down. Like, she's just putting them down, right? She may have the most out of, like, our core group. It's hard to say how many Taka has at this point. He's probably got quite a few with what was going on between the ranch back and forth with him. So, it's really hard to say. With the Walking Dead TV series, we have a better kill count. With this one, it feels to me like there's a lot of stuff that happens that we don't really know about 100%. So I wouldn't say she has the most, but maybe out of her family and her immediate group, maybe she has the most, just because she was putting the people down, which is not really like an evil thing for her to do. She's doing what's right for the group at that point. And the last one will be from Eric's Earth, who says, Trev, do you think Fear the Walking Dead will ever go back to the ranch for supplies? I think it would be cool for them to go back. And it would make sense, right, Erik? That's a good call there, that after the dam being destroyed, one of the places they know is the ranch, and they might, go check it out and see what kind of state it's in right now, because of the fact that, there was a lot of supplies there. And you could expect them to go back and get some leftover. I would think there's some leftovers still there, right? So it makes sense for them to do it, in season 4. But I tend to think they probably won't, because they wouldn't want to retread the same territory in terms of story. So in terms of the story itself, it might feel a little bit repetitive if they kind of go back there, unless they change the look of it, that kind of thing. And they did have to build the whole place up for them to see it. So for season 4, maybe we probably won't see that, even though, realistically, it would make sense for you to probably go back there and, get what you need and what have you, or maybe hold out for a little while before you move on somewhere else if you want to. And that'll be it for today's video, guys. Keep sending me your questions if you want to see more Fear the Walking Dead stuff. Otherwise, send me stuff for Walking Dead, and we'll start getting geared up for the Season 8 premiere. Very exciting weekend. I am just absolutely stoked for this weekend. I can't wait. And still buzzing after the finale from Season 3 of Fear. It was just so good. Write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Are they killing off too many characters? Or do you think it's okay? They're doing the right amount? And if you like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. And you can do it at the bottom. That's it for this one. See you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev. And I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.